Hey guys, this is Mr. Wolfie, and I'm here to talk about this kind of sensation that's been going on lately called hashtag Questions for Men. Now, it was created by a woman named Clementine Ford, who is kind of a renowned feminist writer, especially in Australia. And as you can see by some of the tweets and things that I'm going to be popping up here, she's kind of got a interesting take on the whole equality concept. She wrote a very interesting article. I'll show you some more about Questions for Men very soon, but she wrote a very interesting article, and I just had to... It killed me. I think it's one, two... Oh wow, it's like the second paragraph, okay? You know, on the page, and it says, "It's all par for the course, really, but the one that confuses me the most is the one where I'm called an attention seeker. The idea that someone would sit at home manufacturing outrage in order to gain attention is nothing short of silly. You can't make this up. You can't, I'm not even going to address the rest of the article. You can read it yourself. It's kind of a mixture of, I agreed with a lot of it, but, you know, it's after seeing what she was actually physically tweeting and then reading the article, she's being two different people completely. She's being very, it's a mess. You know, anyway. The point is, I've got just multitudes of tweets that I'm going to be popping up at random on the video. Like, it's going to be interjected with me talking on camera here. Well, mostly for the audio, because it's kind of easy to just do it all in one, because this camera has a good microphone. Anyway, point is, I can't even speak about it. You know, the biggest problem is, it's people asking, it's women asking like passive-aggressive questions. It's feminists are getting mad about men answering the questions in the hashtag like they wouldn't be doing the exact same thing if a man hadn't started it. You know, they're asking questions like, "Are you afraid to walk home in the dark?" Well, duh. I mean, let's say for the sake of argument that the only dangerous people on the planet are men. Not all of those men are just out to, you know, commit rape and kidnap women. A lot of those men are out to kill other men, if not just because they want to do it. I mean, that's actually happened. I mean, just Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer is one of the United States' worst. Was he? Yeah, United States' worst serial killers. He's like the they called him the Milwaukee Cannibal. He only killed men. He kidnapped and killed and ate people and kept their skeletons as freaking trophies. You think, "Oh, I'm not afraid to walk home in the dark"? Yeah, a little bit. So, I mean, it's like the assumption that, I mean, men kill men, men mug men, in some cases, men rape men. I mean, your argument is that you fear being raped while walking home in the dark. Well, men don't fear that quite as much as being stabbed, shot, or otherwise murdered, but they are nervous about that sort of thing. So, I mean, and that's what the flood of questions was. It was petulant, passive-aggressive nonsense that alienates people with common sense. In fact, a very large quantity of women were talking out against it like, "This is stupid. You're asking stupid questions." What could have been a very good method of men and women learning from each other and from their experiences turned into this just culture war again, as things tend to do. Of course, women blame men and men blame women, and of course everyone is at fault here because the men were asking some stuff that were, I mean, I was joking and trolling a lot. I was asking funny things like hashtag Questions for Men. Is it true that Hulkamania will never die? And stuff like that, you know, and as we were using like song lyrics, it became this big thing where it was just a joke. And the problem is that should be what was going on. I mean, that should have been it. That was men asking manly questions. I was asking stuff like, "Would you rather watch First Blood or Terminator 2? And or Die Hard. I actually included Die Hard because, you know, I think I would choose Die Hard out of those. No, I don't know. Terminator 2 is so freaking awesome. Anyway, point is, They were asking questions as though they were gender-specific questions, like, have you ever experienced workplace harassment because of your gender? It's like, yeah, I have. What's your point? What were you trying to get at? I mean, based on what Clementine Ford said that was her goal, which was to, actually I'll read this part, I began to ask questions relating to what I assumed were sexist double standards. Some were intended as genuine inquiries, while others were designed to highlight what I knew to be hypocritical approaches to gendered behavior. In some cases, I wanted to know if men felt subjected to the same physical and emotional social standards inflicted on women. In others, I wanted to highlight the ways patriarchy affects the men both privileged and disenfranchised by its strict moral codes. Actually, she didn't say moral at all. I just added that. Patriarchy. You know, as though the patriarchy is creating the way genders view each other, when it's really just women have this view, men have this view, and they don't like to mesh. They like to be like all the time. It's stupid. Do you feel scared if a woman is following you at night, and then do you feel silly for feeling that way? No. She could be a serial killer. You are living in a bubble of assumption that men are the only crazy people on the planet. I would like to tell you for a fact that is not true. I mean, how about, did you know that the story of Dracula is partly inspired by a woman, aka Elizabeth Bathory, who, interestingly enough, is one of the bad guys in Castlevania Bloodlines. She's like the basis of the main character there. The lady that's raising Dracula back from the dead. It's actually pretty good. It's an awesome game. It's like it's my favorite Castlevania, in case you haven't seen it. But just this whole scenario is so dumb. So dumb. And the thing is, I've actually legitimately met some really cool people. But then there was some people that were asking some legitimate questions, and I have some of those on tap here as an example. And it was pretty cool to talk to these people because they're smart. I almost did quotation mark. They're actually they're smart. And that's the difference, I think, is not so much where you're from or what your ideologies are, but whether you're intelligent enough to realize that, for one thing, when you say men, you're not talking about every single male that has ever existed on the planet. You're not saying men have always been kings and say that every single male is a king. That's the kind of mentality they have, though. They're like, what's it like to be at the top of the social pyramid and make all the money and blah blah blah, you make more money than me? And we don't. I've never worked a job where I made more than anyone. I've always been the lowest paid person on staff. And my last job, I worked at the hospital for like 2 years. The next person above me made about $1 more than me per hour. We started almost the exact same time, and she made about $1 more than me per hour. So your argument is nonsense. To me, anyway. I don't know. I'm sure there's somewhere on the planet where a man and a woman are working the exact same job and the man is getting paid more. But I can guarantee you that there are lots of places where the opposite is true, because I have experienced it. And whatever you want to say, your argument just falls on deaf ears with me, because I know it for a fact that it's not exactly, all-encompassing. The thing about the hashtag is it opens up the opportunity for a phenomenal amount of emotional and social growth, and just the idea that your preconceived notions about sexism and about each other as a gender in general, they're not necessarily true. You may be completely underestimating or misinterpreting other human beings and not realize it because you've been trained so hard by certain people that it's almost irreparable damage to your psyche. And you shouldn't blame that on the people that you're attacking in this hashtag or in other hashtags. It's not their fault, and it's not your fault, really. It's sort of your fault. You're responsible for you. But there are people like Clementine Ford who are the figureheads for movements that are all about hate and inequality, when they should be about love, equality, and freedom for all. I'm gonna go ask some dudes if they'd rather be a lumberjack or a pirate. Peace out, guys. This has been Mr. Wolfie. Love you guys.